Hi guys, I'm standing here with Eric.
Yes.
Eric is part of our material innovation team. Today we're going to talk about the different materials in insulation jackets. Okay, Eric, what is the fundamental principle behind insulation? How does it work?
We can create insulation in different ways. From a vacuum bottle, for example, we use vacuum between two walls of steel.
Yeah.
But when working with garments and clothing, we are trying to trap air. So having air standing still inside the garment and not changing from being inside and outside, and also different thicknesses depending on what your activity, what weather you're out in, and etc.
At Fjällräven today, we use 3 different materials to create insulation. And we have down, we have synthetic padding, and wool.
Wool.
Yeah. Okay, we have brought in 2 cylinders of down here. They look equal in size, but can you explain what the difference is here?
Yeah, both are filled with down, 2 different qualities. So actually it's the same weight of these two jars, but the difference is the quality of the down. So you can see this one is filling up the jar much more.
Yeah.
Actually, when we talk about down, this is what we want, but many think that this is how the down looks like. It's actually feather, because these are the things that normally punch through and comes out from your garment.
Pinch your jacket and
Exactly.
leak.
But those we don't really want. So what we want is these like really tiny clusters of down. As you can see, it's really lightweight. It's filling up the space a lot, and that's what we want to do in a garment. So this one will create a much lighter jacket and also more compressible jacket. So you can stuff it in a small sack and keep it in your backpack, for example. And that's the key benefit with down as insulation material. Really compressible, really lightweight.
But what happens when it gets wet then?
That's a drawback. So down has a tendency of collapsing when it gets wet. So all that good insulation properties are gone. Preferably you would use a down jacket during the cold period of the year, winter, when it's snowing, really cold, no problem, but don't go outside when it's raining.
All our down is a byproduct from the food industry. It's ethically produced and it's fully traceable all the way back to where the animals actually come from. So we have full control over the whole production of the down.
So we're proud of that one.
Let's take a look on one of the great properties.
Perfect.
From a perfectly good insulation piece to a pillow. Okay, so for the last 40 or 50 years we've had synthetic insulation as kind of the alternative to down insulation. And we have a piece of synthetic insulation here, right?
Yes, this is polyester insulation. It's kind of really tiny fibers in a pretty non-structured way. So it's a non-woven material to create this lofty material to be used in insulation layers, like the vest you're wearing today.
And the properties and the capacity to trap air, if you compare that to down, what's that like?
It's pretty good, not as good as down, because you see that the loft is not as high, it's not filling up the same amount of space. But on the flip side, or the good side, it's durable.
Yeah.
So you can use it in many different ways. Handles moisture much better compared to down. Dries much faster, and you don't have to be as afraid using it when it's raining. But
at the end of the day, this is still made out of a non-renewable material, right?
It's non-renewable, high content of recycled material, but it's not renewable, which is maybe the benefit, one of the benefits with both down and wool as insulation.
Okay, so we have talked about down and we have talked about synthetic, but we have the third material that we create insulation with, like probably the oldest material for clothing period and
10,000 years.
for insulation. Yeah. This is interesting.
Yeah,
That's not what you kind of anticipate when you think of wool.
One of the reasons why maybe we have lost it as a material and retaking it now is because of the itchiness. That really coarse wool could be itchy when you wear it next to the skin. But in this product here, we use it in between 2 layers of fabric, so the itchiness is not a problem any longer, and we can really work with the properties of this fiber. We're buying it here in Sweden, so 80% of Swedish wool is thrown away until we started to buy it. So now we have put a value on it, and we can really process it and make a really fine, nice outdoor fabric out of it, and using the insulation properties of it.
So if you compare this padding to the synthetic padding, then how do they come out compared to each other?
They are very similar in the construction, so we can make kind of the same garments with it. The benefit with the wool compared to synthetic is how it handles water. This one actually absorbs the water, so it can take up to 30% of its own weight in water and then evaporate over time. So it kind of slows down the whole process of the water moving from the inside to the outside and acts as a buffer. It will decrease the amount of moisture in the air you have in your system, so you will feel much drier and warmer.
So this is a Canada shirt.
Maybe not as technical, and here we're combining it with a wool fabric on the outside and a lining on the inside, and in between these 2 layers we have this material here.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up.
So starting with the down, I think if your main concern is like weight and over insulation value and compressibility, choose down. Next one is the synthetic one. Here I think the good thing is, of course, it dries up quick, it's fairly lightweight, and also the wash carrying is super easy. Just throw it in together with the rest of the stuff you have. The third one is a wool. So if your concern is more environmental reasons, it's discarded material that we turn into fantastic functional material. Here the key benefit is how it handles moisture, but in a completely different way compared to the polyester or the synthetic padding. Okay, thanks a lot, Eric, for coming. Thank you very much. Very exciting and interesting stuff here, and I'm sure many of you have lots of questions to this or comments, so feel free to post them below. And as usual, click and subscribe, and we will be coming back to you soon with more interesting material, I think. Thank you.